The film opens as Teddy Gatz and his mentally handicapped cousin, Don, tend to their honeybees. Teddy explains to Don the ecosystem of honeybees and their vital role in pollinating a third of Earth's food, but says they are dying due to many reasons people give, like pesticides and habitat loss, or even blaming governments and their agro-corporate overlords, who bioengineered CCD to manipulate food supplies. Still, Teddy believes there's more to the story than that, and thinks a larger organizing principle is at work. We see Teddy and Don do several body exercises as Teddy continues to discuss his research and how he claims to have made some kind of breakthrough discovery about the source of problems in society and the government, and he thinks it's up to him and Don to stop what is happening. They go to a store and gather supplies to enact their plans, like a cream which they say is for mitigation and paper Jennifer Aniston masks. At home, Teddy sets rules for them to not smoke or have any screen time except for research, so they have no distractions and ensure the success of their mission. Don is scared and has doubts about the plan, but Teddy hugs and tells him that he is his only friend in the world and encourages him to follow through with the plan, as it is an important mission to save humanity. That night, Teddy gets a needle and says they need to take it to chemically castrate them so they won't have any psychic compulsions to deviate them from the plan and let them hit maximum focus. Don is hesitant, but Teddy tells him his experience after he took it, as he is no longer driven by sexual behavior and is his own master. He tells him that as long as they have sexual thoughts, the more power it will have over them. Don then agrees, and Teddy injects him with the needle. Elsewhere, Michelle Fuller is a very wealthy woman and is going about her life. She does multiple reverse-aging diet and therapy programs. She also does several body exercises, including training in self-defense, and is seen to be good at it. Michelle then later drives to work, where she is a high-profile CEO of a pharmaceutical megacorporation called Oxalith. At work, Michelle does an advertisement for the company, encouraging the use of diverse thinking and resources to empower diverse people. But she is quickly annoyed by how many times the word diverse is repeated in her script and wants to change it a bit. Later, at her office, Michelle talks to her assistant and tells her to send a message to the other workers in the company that they can leave early if they have finished their work and no one is going to be overworked like in the past. After a day of work, Michelle drives home, where Teddy and Don are waiting. When she arrives, they get out of their hiding spot and try to abduct her, but Michelle's self-defense training proves to be superior to their exercises as she beats both of them up. She tries to run inside her house, but Teddy follows her and tries to pepper spray her. Michelle puts him to the ground again and runs to her backyard, where Teddy catches up to her again. She beats him for the third time and tries to run away, but Teddy has already injected her with a needle, and she quickly gets knocked out. They then quickly get her in her car and start to drive away, where Teddy orders Don to cut off her hair, saying it can be used as a GPS tracker. They later burn all her phones and other electronic devices. Teddy and Don bring Michelle back to their home and chain her in their basement. There, the two proceed to cover her body with the histamine cream. After they finish, they head upstairs and get dressed. Michelle eventually wakes up to discover her situation. She is greeted by Teddy, who explains that he and Don believe that Michelle is a high-ranking alien of the Andromedan race, and that she has been sent to enslave and exterminate humanity. They shaved her to prevent her from contacting other aliens, and the cream is to suppress any powers she may possess. Michelle interrupts him and tells him that her status will mean that her absence will be noted, and that police, soon followed by the FBI, will start looking for her using all the methods at their disposal. She assures him that there is no possible scenario where they would benefit from this, and it all leads to their imprisonment. She offers them to cooperate with her so they can negotiate a deal that is fair and advantageous to both of them. Teddy gets a little scared by her talk and is impressed by how much she can talk like a real human being. Michelle tries to tell him that she is not an alien, but Teddy is fully convinced she is and wants her to bring them to her mothership on the night of the lunar eclipse to broker a sit-down with her royal superiors so they can discuss the terms of her species' withdrawal from Earth. Michelle continues to disagree and says what he is asking her to do is not clear. Teddy, however, tells her that she has already killed his family and community, and that he is actually being a professional by not killing her right off, which in turn scares Michelle. He gives her a voice recorder to give her statement that will be sent to her emperor. He tells her that they will be back the next day to get her statement and leaves. Upstairs, Teddy and Don jump around in happiness at how their plan is falling into motion. Later, Don is seen feeling a bit guilty after seeing Michelle crying through their basement camera. But Teddy tells him he should not feel for her as she is not a real human being and that she is just trying to gain his sympathy. He tells Don that they need to stick with the plan and have 4 days until the lunar eclipse. Later that night, Teddy continues his research into the Andromeda Galaxy, and a flashback shows Teddy's mother, Sandy, was a patient of Oxalith. She influenced many of his conspiracy theories and is now comatose at the hospital after undergoing medical trials with the company. 3 days before the lunar eclipse, Teddy forces Michelle to put the cream all over her body. He later rides his bike to work while listening to podcasts about conspiracies of extraterrestrial life forms. But he is stopped by the local sheriff named Casey, who used to babysit Teddy when they were younger. He tries to converse with Teddy like they are catching up, but Teddy just wants to get away from him. Casey continues to try to have small talk, but Teddy tells him he has work and rides off. Teddy turns out to work for Oxalith in the warehouse. There, he talks to his coworker, Tina, who has accidentally cut herself in the machinery, but is scared to file a report as it might be seen as a violation on her part for missing a quota. Teddy tells her that she is the one who is being violated and promises that they are not going to get away with it in the end. During break time, Teddy sees a news report on TV about how Michelle has been reported missing. Later at home, Teddy tends to his bees and learns from Dawn that Michelle has still not eaten any food they have served her. He and Dawn later go down to the basement to get her statement. Teddy hears her statement, where Michelle tries to go along with the accusation and confess to her being an alien. But her weak attempt at confession only frustrates Teddy, and he tells her that she did not even say it in her alien language. He asks her to do it again, convincingly, and grant them an audience with her emperor. But Michelle tells him that this is the best she could do and tries to tell him again that she is not an alien, which angers Teddy. She proposes her own explanation of what is going on and tells him that he is under the influence of extreme internet consumption of conspiracy theories and rabbit holes. Teddy, however, is aware of what he is doing and fully believes in his work. The confrontation quickly gets heated, and Teddy nearly hits her with a chair before he breaks it in anger and throws it. Michelle tries to offer him money and power, but Teddy is not interested in that. She finally tells him that he is mentally ill and that he needs help, causing Teddy to smack her in the face. He tells her that she will eventually confess and leaves. Later that night, Teddy shows Dawn the image he rendered that he believes the Andromedan ship will look like. He says that their journey there will be instantaneous, but once they are there, they need to pull their focus as the Andromedan aliens might be able to hear their thoughts. He plans to make them see reason and negotiate the terms for them to leave planet Earth. Teddy says he also has a plan if they refuse. 2 days before the lunar eclipse, Teddy and Dawn once again go down to the basement, now holding a shotgun. Michelle makes another attempt at telling Teddy she is an alien so that he will free her. Instead, he hooks her up to a device where he starts to force her to undergo electroshock torture, something that even makes Dawn uncomfortable. Even though Michelle is clearly in pain, Teddy continues to crank up the voltage. Dawn tries to stop him, saying he will kill her, but Teddy pushes him off and continues to torture her until the house's electricity starts frying and blood starts leaking from her mouth. Even though Michelle nearly died, Teddy starts apologizing, saying that he now sees her high tolerance as her having a higher ranking status among the Andromedans than he previously believed. Another brief flashback shows how Michelle covered up the incidents that left Sandy and other patients in a coma, and how she covered Sandy's treatments to make up for it. One day before the lunar eclipse, Teddy rides into town and buys food, drinks, and other supplies. They allow Michelle to go upstairs and clean herself up before inviting her to a dinner they have prepared for her. They now start discussing in a more civilized manner, and Michelle starts asking Teddy about his personal life, but he doesn't want to delve deeper into that subject. They talk about Teddy's theories regarding a connection between the Andromedans and how bees are dying. However, their discussion turns sour when Michelle's argument about all the things Teddy blames her for starts to sound more logical. Teddy says she won't change his mind and still believes she is murdering the bees and enslaving humanity as a whole. Then, Michelle says she knows him and brings up Sandy's case. This angers Teddy, and he tells her to stop talking about her, saying he is not doing these things because of his mother. Michelle apologizes for what happened to Sandy and believed they were helping her, but did not foresee the complications with opioid withdrawal medications. She thought she and her company had paid his family a proper reparation, but now sees that it isn't nearly enough. She again offers to help him and his mother, saying now she can truly cure her. This makes Teddy go all out crazy, and he starts attacking her. He starts to strangle her as Dawn tells him to stop. Teddy nearly kills her until Michelle stabs him with a fork and gets away. Outside, Casey arrives at the house to ask some questions about Michelle's disappearance. Meanwhile, Michelle and Teddy continue to fight inside the house, and she manages to pin him to the ground and starts strangling him while telling him that he can't beat her as he is a loser and she is a winner. She continues to strangle him until Dawn hits her with the shotgun and knocks her out. Casey knocks on the front door as Teddy and Dawn frantically get Michelle back to the basement. Teddy goes up to talk to Casey, who asks to come inside, so Teddy lets him in. There, Teddy offers him some coffee, and Casey sees the chain Michelle was tied to, but Teddy makes up stuff and says it was for his mother. Casey asks him his questions about Michelle as her car was snapped by a speed trap nearby, and he was just asking around the neighborhood if anyone had seen anything. Obviously, Teddy denies seeing her on anything suspicious. The two continue to talk, and it is revealed that Casey had molested Teddy years earlier while he was babysitting him, and that is the main reason he came up, since he is now feeling guilty and wants to atone for it. Teddy wants him to leave, so he accepts his apology. But Casey still won't leave and continues to have his small talks, so Teddy invites him outside to show him his bees. Meanwhile, in the basement, Michelle wakes up to find Dawn keeping her at gunpoint. There, she tries to convince him that she will help him if he calls the police on Teddy, especially since she knows he has not been fully on board with Teddy's scheme. Dawn says Teddy is all he has, and he loves him, but Michelle tells him that she will find someone else for him and that he doesn't need Teddy. Outside, Teddy shows Casey his apiary, while Michelle continues to try to convince Dawn. Ultimately, Dawn asks her to take him to her spaceship as he no longer wants to live on Earth, and Michelle agrees to take him if he frees her. Dawn seems to agree at first, but then asks Michelle to tell Teddy he's sorry and that he loves him. Dawn then puts the barrel of the shotgun under his chin and blows his brains out, covering Michelle in blood. Teddy and Casey overhear the gunshot, so Teddy quickly takes off Casey's bee veil and flings the bees in his face. The bees quickly swarm his face and start to sting him. Teddy uses this chance to grab a shovel and bludgeon him to death. Teddy runs downstairs and is despaired to find Dawn dead. He tries to shoot Michelle for getting into his head and causing him to commit suicide, but Michelle tells him that she has an Andromedan cure for Sandy's condition in a bottle of antifreeze. She tells him that his mother was part of an Andromedan experiment to rearrange her entire genetic code, and that the cure will chemically terminate the experiment. She tells him that the cure is in her car's truck, so Teddy hits her in her knee for Dawn before he goes to her car and gets the antifreeze jug. He rushes to the hospital and injects Sandy's IV with the antifreeze. At first, nothing happens, but moments later, she starts shaking before her heart completely stops, and she dies. Teddy's world completely crashes down, and he frantically flees the hospital before he is found. Meanwhile, Michelle gets the keys to her chains from Dawn's pocket and frees herself. There in the basement, she finds a secret room and gets in to find corpses and remains of other people that Teddy had suspected of being Andromedans. When Teddy returns home, Michelle confronts him and seemingly admits for real that she is indeed an alien. According to her, she is an Andromedan empress who first arrived on Earth during the age of dinosaurs. After accidentally killing them, they remade a new population that resembled their species. At first, humans were evolving and becoming civilized steadily alongside nature, and the Andromedans were worshipped like gods. But soon, some humans wanted to surpass them and start creating their own stronger humans in a lab. This led to an all-out thermonuclear war that decimated almost every human being. Those who survived built an ark and traveled the oceans for a century. When it was finally safe to resurface on dry land, the leaders of the ark died, leaving behind only a few mutant specimens of degraded semi-humans, the apes. The apes then evolved into the humans that are now. But unlike the humans before, Teddy and all the other human beings on Earth fought in an endless cycle of war, which became a poison for Earth. The Emperor of the Andromedan wanted to fix them instead of destroying them, so the experiment was born. The tests on Sandy and other Oxalith patients were meant to advance the next evolutionary stage for humans. Teddy says she killed her, but Michelle tells him that her plan was for him to get caught after killing his mother, and that the antifreeze wasn't a cure and was just an antifreeze. She says there are still other patients who are showing progress, and they must take the result to the Emperor on the night of the lunar eclipse. Teddy starts to cry, but Michelle tells him that saving Earth and humanity is their destiny. The night of the lunar eclipse, Michelle and Teddy make it to Oxalith, where Teddy is keeping her at gunpoint. They go to her office, where other workers are suspicious of what is going on, but Michelle acts normally and tells them to go on about their work. In her office, Michelle starts typing numbers on a calculator, saying it is a code that will initiate a link with the ship. After she finishes typing in the code, Teddy reveals that he has strapped a homemade bomb to himself in case the Andromedans try to kill him. Michelle has Teddy get inside the closet in her office, saying it is a teleporter, before activating a device that will make contact with the mothership. She starts counting down before Teddy's vest explodes inside the closet, and his severed head flies out and knocks Michelle unconscious. Michelle wakes up in an ambulance, where she learns that Teddy's bomb vest exploded after reacting with his body heat and friction. She then runs out of the ambulance and starts to make her way back to Oxalith. She sees the lunar eclipse in the sky and quickly makes her way back to her office, saying she forgot something. She grabs the calculator and enters her bloody closet and teleports herself onto the Andromedan mothership, reuniting with other members of her species. The spaceship is also similar to what Teddy had rendered on his computer, and every other theory he had was proved right, even her using her hair to contact them. They deem Earth and the humans as a failed experiment, with no chance for success moving forward. Michelle approaches a model of Earth encased in a bubble, which she then remorsefully pops. This causes all of humanity around the world to instantly die. Michelle looks upon the Earth with sadness. All around the world, people have dropped dead. Back at Teddy's home, bees can be seen slowly returning to their habitat.